Today we're going to be talking about subtracting integers. To subtract integers, we're going to add the opposite. So in order to do that, anytime I see a subtraction problem, I'm going to keep the first integer in the problem the same. I'm going to change my subtraction sign to addition. And after that addition sign, that second integer is going to change to its opposite. So 12 becomes negative 12. Anytime we change something to an addition problem, we can now follow our addition rules. So in this problem, I'm adding two numbers that have different signs. So I'll actually subtract the absolute values. So I have an absolute value of 3 and 12. If I subtract them, I get 9. And since the number with the greater absolute value was the 12 and it was negative, my answer is negative 9. Here's another subtraction problem. 5 minus negative 4. So the 5 stays the same, my subtraction sign changes to addition, and that number that will be right after my addition sign changes to its opposite. So negative 4 becomes 4. Now my addition problem is 5 plus 4. Same sign, both positive. I add them up and I get positive 9. Here I have negative 3 minus 3. The first integer stays the same. So the negative 3 carries over. My subtraction sign becomes an addition sign, and that second number becomes its opposite. I'm adding the opposite. So 3 becomes negative 3. Now I'm following my addition rules. Here I'm adding two negatives, so I add the absolute values of them. 3 and 3 is 6, and since they're negative, that negative carries over to my answer. Here's my last one, negative 8 minus negative 13. So the first integer stays the same, negative 8. My subtraction sign changes to addition, and this second integer, negative 13, becomes positive 13. Now here I've got two numbers with different signs, so I subtract their absolute values. 8 and 13 are the absolute values here. 13 minus 8 is 5. Since 13 has the greater absolute value and 13 is positive, my answer will be positive 5. All right, when I'm subtracting and I have multiple integers, more than 2, I'm going to first change my entire thing to add the opposite, just like before, except I'm going to have to do it for as many integers as I have past that first integer. First integer stays the same. Then I make my subtraction sign add, and any number after an add sign becomes its opposite. So this becomes 12. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to change the subtract to add. The number after the add becomes its opposite, so this will become negative 14. So I'm going to add these two first. Negative 7 and 12 gives me positive 5. I'm going to add the negative 14. And when I add these two together, I have more negatives, negative 9. All right, let's do one more example like this. So I'm going to change this guy to addition. So the first integer stays. Negative 9 remains the same. Then I'll make this subtraction sign an add, and anything after an add becomes its opposite. So 16 becomes negative 16. And I'll do another add, and that 8 will become negative 8. So I'm going to add these two first, negative 9 and negative 16. They both have the same sign. So I'm going to have negative 25 and negative 25 and negative 8, both negatives. I add them together, I get 33, and since they're both negatives, negative 33. All right, one more problem. So the highest point in North America is 6,198 meters above sea level. The lowest point is at negative 86 meters. Since it's negative, that's the same as saying 86 meters below sea level. They want to know what is the range of elevations. So when I'm finding the range, I'm doing the highest minus the lowest to get the range. So the highest point is at 6,198. I'm going to subtract the lowest point, which is negative 86. So I have to change this to addition. So the first number remains the same, 6,198, plus the second number after the plus sign becomes its opposite, 86. So there is a range between these two elevations of 6,284 meters.